What's up, Venomous Toad? Welcome back to the Build Show. I'm here. You're welcome. I'm here. You're welcome. What can I say? Except, you're welcome. Stole that one straight from Disney. Well, guys, I had to mess around with a couple of PCs today. One of which being the build number 10 for Carly. I had to figure out what was going on with that RGB lighting, and turns out the RGB controller on the motherboard is totally crap. So we're going to be replacing that motherboard. We're not doing it here on the stream. I'm just going to be taking care of that probably tomorrow. I have the replacement B650 motherboard from Gigabyte, same one already here. I just bought a new one from Micro Center. Thanks, Micro Center. And we're just going to swap the board on that one, so that'll probably solve the problem. Yeah, I loaded up Windows, loaded up the Gigabyte Control Center, and the only thing RGB Fusion could find was the RGB for the RAM. That was it. Even after doing firmware upgrades and all sorts of fun stuff Gigabyte made me try, there's something wrong with the controller. So with that board and with the new one. Look at all that beautiful stuff. I know, we're going to go with a white build if you haven't guessed, based on the white graphics card and the white Peerless Assassin that we're going to be building with. And then we also have some sleeved white cables here. All right, so let's go ahead and get started for Brianna. This build is for you, Brianna. I'm sorry we're starting a little late. Should be about an hour and 20 minutes, so we should be pretty close to 11:30 when we're finished up here. Eastern time. So hopefully it isn't too late for everybody. But our AMD CPU is going to be the AMD Ryzen 7 5700X 3D, which has got the 8 cores, 16 threads, 4.1 gigahertz max boost with the 3D V-Cache. Everybody wants that 3D V-Cache right now. That's going to be going on a B550 Aorus Elite AX V2 motherboard. It's an ATX, Wi-Fi, Bluetooth, all that great jazz. We've also got 32 gigabytes of DDR4 3200. This is by G.Skill. So 3200 megahertz, CL16 for the timing. It's a great kit of RAM. Really can't go wrong with that kit at all. The cooler that we're going to be using, we already kind of touched on a little bit, is the Peerless Assassin X120 SE White Addressable RGB. Hey, Corey, what's up, man? My son loves this PC so much. Thanks again for building it so quickly. Yeah, no problem, man. I'm glad we got to it before we got super crazy busy here. Good evening, Army Vet. Welcome back to the Build Show. Come on in. Come on in. We're doing some builds. Well, a build tonight. One build tonight. What else? We got a 2 terabyte M.2 NVMe SSD. This is the TN450, which is a Gen 4 SSD. It's 5,000 read and 5,000 write, pretty much is where this drive stands. And we've got a 750 watt 80 plus gold power supply by Thermaltake, which is a Tough Power GFA3. Yeah, fully modular, PCIe 5.0 and ATX 3.0 ready. Definitely what we want to see. We have also got our white sleeved cables for the white build, and then we have a white RTX 3070 from Gigabyte as well. So the Gigabyte graphics card pairing with the Gigabyte motherboard. Thank goodness we got that. And this is all going into a Montech Air 903 Max in white. So it's a very white build. Coral Reef, hey, what's up? Welcome back to the Build Show. Hey, did you hear the update on your system? I sent you an email, and then I just kind of briefly touched on that here to give everybody an update. Thank God I'm West. I'm too old to stay up until 11:30. Yeah, typically I like to try to start these a little earlier. And just the last, month, it's just been, we've been just starting closer and closer to 10 o'clock, I feel like, Eastern time over here. So I do want to start these a little earlier. We'll get back into a rhythm here. It's just, with everything that's been going on lately, I'm just on the struggle bus with maintaining that schedule right now, so just bear with me, you guys. Yeah. So then I'll probably be streaming when you're eating dinner, if you're on the west side. So, or actually might be even before you're eating dinner. depending on how far west you go. Hey, Onra, welcome back to the Build Show. I see you're over on YouTube now. Made it over here. Yeah, I was just about to reply, but I saw you live. LOL. I was gonna ask if it's okay if I wait a few days before you pick up. Yeah, that's not a problem at all. Not a problem at all. Might have to wait until the weekend, depending on how it work goes. Yeah, no worries. No worries at all. Take whatever time you need. I'll have it. I've just got to swap out the board, and then we should be good to go. So I should have it ready for pickup tomorrow. So anytime you want to plan on coming by. Saturdays would be the best on the weekend for you to come by and pick it up. 7 p.m. for you over there right now. Wow, it's 9:54 over here for me. 10 o'clock. Gets late fast over here, it feels like. I'm home by 5:30, 8:30 your time. Yeah, so that's about when I usually try to start, is around 8:30, and typically don't start until about 9:30. Great, thank you so much. Yeah, no problem. No problem at all. Yeah, just make sure you read, when I do send the final email for pickup, make sure you read the winter advisory. And it is because of the parking conditions over here on my driveway. So there's a specific place I'd like you to park if you don't have four-wheel drive, so that we don't get stuck. Because the drive/driveway is nothing but pure ice. So, and obviously be careful while you're walking if you're walking down. But I can walk it up to your car, so you don't have to deal with any of the ice. You just park by the mailboxes and ring Ben, and Ben comes running out with your PC. What better? Unless you want to check out the place over here, which just looks like a warehouse. Some people enjoy it. Hey, what's up, Brianna? How's it going? Welcome to the Build Show. Sorry we're starting so late, but we are doing your build. So Brianna over here on YouTube is, we're doing the build for Brianna tonight. Here we go. We just got done running through all the components. Now it's building time. Here we go. So this week's been crazy. It's finally starting to slow down. I know, crazy, right? But we still have a crazy ton of inventory builds. We have a small project. Well, I've got to finish up another PC, and then let's see here. 1, 2, 3. We've got five inventory builds and core components for another 5 builds if we wanted to do them. I'm just gonna probably hold off until the rest of these go. I don't know. There's just a crazy ton of builds back here we could do. But we will be tackling that Titan. I say Titan because it's a Sparkle. The Sparkle. The Intel B580 build. So we will be doing that on Wednesday. I know quite a few people have been waiting for me to do that. And then I finally got a B580, and then we got super busy with orders. So, so here we are. We do have one more order that's floating in slowly. We will have that, or well, we have George, and then we have another order that's floating in slowly. We're waiting on parts. So 2 more orders in the hopper right now. We'll probably do George's build tomorrow. And then the Intel B580 build on Wednesday. Hopefully that sounds good for everybody. I live off a dirt road that turned into ice rink after everything melted. That's exactly what happened over here. Exactly what happened. So that's why I'm sending out winter advisories for people that are coming over. Because I've had some people try to drive down the ice rink and realize that they're not getting back up. And it requires me and some help of my very, very nice neighbors to push the vehicles up the hill. And I have a hernia, and I really don't I don't want to stretch my luck right now until after I get this fixed. So, trying to make work smarter, not harder. I had my DoorDash guy, even after messaging him, try to go down the hill, and he got stuck. And that was just great, because he had somebody else's order that he was on the way to drop off as well. So I helped push him out like an idiot. Like the idiot I am. And then I was sore for like a week. Okay, here's our B550 Aurorus Elite AX V2. Fantastic motherboard. One of the, I think, one of the top B550 boards you could buy today. But the only downside is that we're going in a white build and it's not white, but B550 boards are really hard to find in white. There's only a couple select ones, and those that are select are stupid expensive, so. Brianna, I know. I almost did a 180 after backing out of my driveway for work this morning. Oh boy. Hey Joe, welcome back to the Build Show. Come on in. Come on in. Come on in. Hey Jesse. Hey, great board. Yeah. Welcome back to the Build Show, sir. Come on in. Get your snacks, and hopefully we're past the caffeine. Getting ready to wind down for bed. You're not like me who drinks caffeine all night and then wonders why he can't fall asleep. Yeah, that's me. I think ASRock makes some whiteboards. They do, yeah, they make a couple of good ones. Their Steel Legend series is, you know, the closest thing to a cheaper whiteboard you can get. The downside is that none of the Steel Legends, or at least it's very rare to find one, find a Steel Legend with Wi-Fi and Bluetooth built into it. So I don't typically use those because one of the key requirements for most of the builds is Wi-Fi and Bluetooth built into the motherboard. And it's because most people, you know, coming over from a console or whatever platform they're coming from over to a PC, they're coming to me because they want to build a PC and they want to build it, and this might be their first time. They're kind of looking for a guide, somebody that's walking them through everything. So it gives them a good experience, but it's almost expected today in 2024 that your PC has Wi-Fi and Bluetooth on it already built in, just because everything else in the world does. So that's basically become a requirement for my motherboard selection, is it has to have Bluetooth and Wi-Fi on it. And of course Wi-Fi 6 would be preferred if we're going that old. So here we go, Ryzen 7 3700X 3D going in there. 5700X 3D, sorry, I said 37. It's a 5700X 3D. I just say some weird stuff sometimes. Yeah, only the higher end X570 have Wi-Fi from ASRock, yeah. And it's a little bit out of the budget. I think for this board, it's around $140 is what we get them for. And that's about the most I'd spend on a B550 right now, brand new. Because then you're starting to spend as much as you know, a decent B650, which is going to be around $200. Once you start getting into that territory, it makes more sense just to go AM5 at that point. A slippery slope. I hate the inland packaging. Oh my gosh. We got it though. We got the inland packaging. It's a little bit of work, but we got it. Here's our 2TB M.2 NVMe SSD. I don't know if it's gonna focus or not. Focus, you camera. Whatever. I give up. There we are. We installed the 2TB M.2 NVMe SSD under the heat spreader here. And of course we peeled the peel off the thermal pad under there. Next up is our 32 gigs of DDR4 3200 RAM by G.Skill, which is our Ripjaws. Ripjaw! Those are going into slots A2 and B2. The 5090 is out! Nah, I thought it was coming out on the 30th. Did I miss something? I know some of the, tech guys out there have gotten cards already for marketing. I didn't know it was out. Yeah, I'm weird only as well. I rarely use Wi-Fi when gaming on a desktop. Yeah, same. Everything for me is wired, but... What is this melt you speak of? It was negative 15 on my drive. Oh, man. Army vet down here, a little further south, like 5 hours-ish. We were... What was it? Like 30, 40 degrees? Just before the weekend there. So we had a little bit of a melt with some sun. It's kind of a nice, flavor of, or I guess, temporary summer. When you call 30 degrees temporary summer feelings. Where you could go outside and you could feel your face. That's the melt that we had over here, Army vet. Yeah, it was around 40 on Saturday, yeah. I couldn't remember if that was Saturday or Friday or whatever day it was. It was a couple days ago now. I've already forgotten what it feels like. Okay, the Thermalright's Peerless Assassin. This huge hunk of metal is what's going to be cooling your CPU with all these awesome heat pipes here and this nickel-plated copper plate on the bottom, cooling pad. And then these two 120 millimeter fans. We just got to put the brackets on there and get this thing installed. What a tight fit. Again, Gigabyte with Thermalright. They have an issue with those, yeah. I don't like that much either. Yeah, I don't like it either. How does the cooling work? I'm new to the desktop. All right. So, quick explanation of how does cooling work, Brianna. Today was the day they did unboxing with the RTX 5090. Oh, okay, that's cool. I didn't know that. So your CPU right here. All right, well, we have lots of different things going on here. We have power, which is going to go to the CPU from here, which is going to be scrubbed through these VRMs, which kind of cleanses the power, so to speak, and then delivers the power to the CPU, which is this guy here. This power, the reason why I bring up power is what creates the heat. So the more power you send to the CPU, the more heat it's going to create, the more heat you have to dissipate. Now the cooler, that's where the cooler comes in. Between the cooler and the CPU is what we call thermal paste. This is what draws the heat off of the CPU and transfers it to this nickel-plated or copper plate, which then transfers the heat to these heat tubes, which then runs up through these fins. These are a bunch of, I think, aluminum fins, and the fans blow air across it, just like your car has. Same thing. It has a radiator feature, except it's not using the heat tubes. The heat tubes here have a specific gas inside of it. I can't remember the exact name of the gas, but it draws the heat or pushes the heat to the top so that it gets cooled. So it's just a continuous flow of heat being pushed to the top and air being blown across the fins, which help cool the gas or the heat in the tubes. That is how it draws the heat off of the CPU onto the cooler and throughout the cooler, distributing it throughout the cooler to be cooled by the fans, which is using airflow. So talking about the thermal paste itself, we're going to go ahead and apply some. This is what helps draw the heat off of the CPU and to the cooler. This just makes it a way more efficient process without it. It probably would just get too hot in between the CPU cooler and the CPU itself, and they would probably overheat. So it's important to have this here. You really can't run metal to metal. Or at least you shouldn't. Definitely not ideal. I'm just trying to get this paste to work with me. But the paste eventually does dry up over time. It's probably one of the worst applications I've done in a while, but it's not going to make a difference performance-wise. So I'm just going to get squished here by the cooler. As long as it does its job and spreads. It's not a pretty pattern like I'm used to. But as we tighten this down, it's going to apply pressure, a lot of pressure to the CPU, and that thermal paste we just put on there is just going to be spread out as we put more pressure down. So it's going to be a very even layer of thermal paste across the entire top of the CPU there, and that's what kind of draws the heat off of the CPU and transfers it over to the cooler. So the better thermal paste you have, the better your cooling is going to be, or the more efficient it's going to be about transferring the heat. That's the best way I can describe it. Oh, that's really cool. Thank you. Oh, you're welcome. So now we have the cooler installed or mounted to the CPU. So, I mean, it's a really tight fit. So, I mean, it's so tight I could lift up the whole thing with this if you wanted to. And that's what you want. You don't want that to be loose. If it's loose, it's not going to do a very good job. The next up is we have a couple of fans to get installed here onto the cooler, which are also white. And get these mounted. They have these little bracket looking things. I don't know what these are called. I guess fan brackets. They just clip onto the side of the fan like this. And then we put the fan in position, and then we'll clip it to the cooler. It's crap. When you're ready, good and ready, we'll clip it to the cooler. I'm going to do the front one first. Clip it first because of the RAM. I just want to match, make sure they're at the same height. So that's fan number 1 of 2 on this cooler, which helps kind of push the heat away more effectively without running as hard, meaning the fans can run quieter but do move the same amount as 2 fans would, or 1 fan would, at a higher RPM. But it's because we're running 2 fans. So technically this should be able to run a little quieter than running a single fan, even though there's 2 fans. There we go. We got our fans installed. Now we're going to rotate this around and get all of this plugged in. Got 2 things to plug in here, well 4 total. But the 2 important types of connections is the PWM connection for the fan speed. This is what goes to the motherboard. From the fan to the motherboard, and the motherboard says, hey fan, I need you to spin at this many RPMs because of the temperature of the CPU. So it just controls, once we get into the BIOS we can adjust that, but the motherboard will control the speed of the fans based on the temperature of the CPU. So the hotter it gets, the faster it's going to tell the fan to spin. So that's what that connection is. The second connection is simply just for the RGB lighting. So these 2 fans have RGB on them, and these are what synchronize the RGB to the software once we have that all set up and running in Windows. So that'll go to the motherboard. But I think on this case that we have a whole panel in the back that we're going to be plugging into. So that means the motherboard is ready to go. Well, actually, let's put one zip tie on this real quick. Good. Maybe 2. Alright, so now that's ready just to go to the back of the case. Nice and clean. Get that case out. Move on to the next step. I'm so excited about my white setup. Yeah, it's gonna look really nice. We even got to the white graphics card. So it's gonna look really nice. We'll see here in a little bit when we get to that. White heatsink looks nice. Yes. Yes, it does. Youch. Hopefully that's white enough for you. You installed the 4070 Ti with the 4500. The CPU is not bottlenecked, other times it was. Yeah, I think in more demanding titles, like, when I say more demanding, maybe less efficient titles, you'll see the bottleneck, like Call of Duty. You'll definitely see a bottleneck in that one. Even in Fortnite, you might see a bottleneck if you try to run it hard. I'm kind of flashbanged by how bright the case is. You guys are so used to seeing me build black ones because I've been building black the last, like, I don't know, 8 builds. We haven't done a white one in a while. But here's that hub that I was talking about on the backside. This is where I'm going to plug those addressable RGB connections into, and then this hub has a connection that'll be plugged into the motherboard, and that is how we'll sync it up. Sync up. I feel like I just met Gandalf the White. The first time. You guys remember that in the movie? Gandalf the White, Lord of the Rings. Or am I just too old now? Making Lord of the Rings references from old Lord of the Rings. Oh. Here we are. Pretty good. Lord of the Rings reference, that was my setup themed after. Nice. I'm a big Lord of the Rings guy. I know, I have just by LED lights. Oh, you just, it's bright, yeah. I just did that to my daughter's room too. She had me put in a bunch of RGB stuff in her room. Now when we drive by, we know what room hers is just by driving by because it's just glowing. Like, oh my gosh. Stuff is bright. He likes to sleep with them on too, and I'm like, how can you do that? It's so bright. Like, shut them off. Got them connected to Alexa, and after she goes to bed, I just tell Alexa to shut them off. I'm not a Call of Duty type guy. Yeah, I know. Same. I'm not either anymore. I used to be. Like, I'm an OG Call of Duty player. Like, Call of Duty 1, Call of Duty 2. Rifles only, search and destroy. Bring it. Bet you 90% of these players that play today in Call of Duty wouldn't stand a chance. I'd probably be a top 10 player. That's because I played Not like Call of Duty back in the day. Call of Duty 1. Stupid amount. And then they did these realism mods, and those were really cool. And then that kind of got me into what was that? Heroes of the West and Stalingrad. What was that? What was that game called? Red Orchestra. I think that's what it was. That really got me into that. The realism mods from Call of Duty 2. Oh yeah, look at that. Beautiful. Looking good. Alright, so we have USB-C and USB 3.0 down here. Typically it's up here, but on this board it's down here. And then we have an addressable RGB connection here, unless we synchronize it up here. And then we do have a fan connection down there as well for the hub. So let's get it all plugged in. What I'm talking about is all these fun cables on this side. Got to deal with these. These all have to get plugged in. Fun, fun, fun. Fud, 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 fud. Then while we're at it, we've got some EPS cables to put in, which are also white. It's PCIe, PCIe, GPU, like this one. May as well just go ahead and route that too. No, we'll do that next. Right. All of those connections are plugged in down there. Yay! State, what's up? Money Law. Red Orc was legit back in the day, yeah. Welcome to the Build Show. Top notch, welcome back to the Build Show. Is there a spec list? Are you just saying it as you go? Sorry, I joined. No worries. So typically, I did start doing a spec list over here on the side, but I kind of winged this. I'm not gonna lie, I kind of winged throwing this stream together tonight, trying to get it out, or trying to get it going because it was getting late. So unfortunately, if you need the specs, I'll just verbally provide them. So a Ryzen 7 5700X 3D is what we're building with for the CPU. A B550 Gigabyte Aorus Elite AX V2 for the motherboard. 32 gigs of DDR4 3200 CL16, which is G.Skill Ripjaws, and then a 2 terabyte M.2 NVMe Gen 4 SSD by Inland, which is a Micro Center brand if you're not aware. Cooler is the Peerless Assassin in white, which is the addressable RGB version. And then the case is a Montech Air 903 Max. Air, not error. Air. And then the video card is going to be a RTX 3070 in white. It's also going to be a Gigabyte card. We have some white sleeved extensions and a Thermaltake 750 watt 80 plus gold power supply. So those are the specs. Sorry, my head was down while I was trying to get those connections in. And thank you, Steve, for trying to cover that as well. Or it looks like you were talking about something else. Interesting video on the bottlenecking using a 7800 X3D, 9800 X3D. Daniel Owens has a interesting video. I'll have to go check it out. Hey, Robert Fixit, welcome back to the Build Show, sir. Welcome back. Welcome back. Montech cases are the budget kings, in my opinion. Oh, they're the greatest case. I mean, this case, the Montech 903, the Sky 2, and the Montech King are probably some of my go-to cases. Like, I'd say they're my top, and they're all three of those are in my top 10 ATX cases to build with in 2024. So definitely enjoyed building in their cases. Had little to no issues, maybe, you know, one or two here and there. We had some weird shipping damage, but I mean, that's nothing they can really control other than you know, a little bit more packaging maybe to help with that. But the sample size that I've built with, I'd say we easily built with more than 70 or 80 of their cases last year, and I think maybe 2 were damaged. So I mean, it's pretty good rate. Hey Martin, welcome back to the Build Show, sir. Come on in. Good evening. Have you ever had a build-a-thon? Yes, that is the build-a-thon. Excuse me. I'm allergic to that word, or that phrase, build-a-thon. Now, the build-a-thon here is typically called the Mega Build Stream. So that's where I literally build until I drop, and we just pound out as many builds as we can. I don't think I could survive, Robert, 24 hours of straight. I don't think I could do 24 hours. I almost did that in 2023 when we were building all those Christmas orders in December back in 2023. There were so many orders that I was basically building 24 hours a day. From like December 15th until like December 23rd, I was just non-stop building. You can go back and look at the YouTube channel and see when I start and when the stream's finish, and I was doing like 3 to 4 or 5 builds a stream. It was insane. It was crazy. My feet, I had built so much during that time that my feet were raw because I stand when I build. I had to get a chair because it was just too much standing. I even have like shoes that are really comfy for standing and walking and stuff, but I literally had raw feet from standing so much. Get 3 of us builders and we do do 4-hour shifts. Yeah, non-stop forever. It's not a sweatshop. I wouldn't want that on anybody. Twisted GA, quick question. Does a single PCIe cable with 2 8-pins on the end output the same as 2 cables? No. So if you have a power supply that has crap, I don't have one here. I can pull one out of the power supply box here and show you. If you have a power supply cable with the pigtail and you use the pigtail, you are technically shorting yourself power, or shorting your graphics card power. It is trying to draw, that cable can only send a certain amount of power. It has a limit from the power supply. So if the graphics card is asking more power than what's actually capable of that cable, you're actually delivering not enough power to your graphics card. So it is always best practice to use 2 separate cables if you have 2 8-pin connections on your graphics card, as an example. Use 2 separate cables, not use the pigtail. It's a modular Corsair, so I have plenty of cables to use if needed. Yes, I would highly recommend you, Twisted GA, if you have 2 PCIe 8-pin connections on the graphics card, use 2 separate cables, and then just zip tie the pigtail off. Some people even cut them off, but I don't recommend doing that. The pigtail, basically I try to tell people, pretend that the pigtail doesn't exist, and build like that. My 1070 has been underpowered for its entire life. Yeah, I mean, it's not likely that the 1070 Ti actually used more power than what that cable's gonna provide, so it's probably fine. But if you want it done right, 2 separate cables. They don't care how flat stuff lays. I'll unpin them later when I fix the janky 24-pin. Okay. Yeah, it shouldn't take too long just to run another cable there. May do a paracord wrap. I've actually never thought of that. Nice. AI will build it. Yeah, Mike Tom. Hey, Mike, welcome to the build show. AI will eventually build it for me. Yeah, and when that day comes, I'll retire. I think you could probably get a 1080 Ti, or I'm sorry, 1070 Ti for actually cheaper than $80. Robert, I think you should be able to get it for probably closer to 60. No joke. 80 is a little premium for a 1070 Ti today. I mean, I got a 1080 for just under $100 the other day. I got a 1080 refurbished from Micro Center for like $110 or something like that, so it's gonna go in one of these budget builds. All right, let's focus on the build now. Get back to it. We got our 4x2 8-pin EPS cable here, so we just got to get this plugged in. But I do want to slap a couple of these cable combs on it, clean up the cable, and then we'll put our 24-pin on there as well. Then we'll drop a graphics card in, and then we'll drop the power supply in, then we'll do some cable management, and then we'll fire this bad boy up. Sound good? We're already nearly finished. We just have some of the tedious stuff to do, like these cable combs. Everybody knows I love cable combs. Sarcasm. Yeah, I never thought of doing a paracord wrap on the cables. I've done electrical tape back, like way back in the day before, you know, cables were cool. I hated mustard and catch up cables so much. I used to buy some electrical tape and tape it up. Use different colors. Got a little creative with that. That was back when I thought I was cool. Way back in the day. Back in the AMD Athlon days. Everybody's like, what's an AMD Athlon? Only the old know what that is. The old wise men. Actually, they still make Athlons, don't they? It's like those little 2-core chips. Oh, I don't like that one. These are all the same. A little cheap. Not a big fan of it. I just feel flimsy. There's a few ways to do it. The paracord went the easy route and took the core of it out and then used the colored outer to wrap it like you would with electrical tape. Some people sleeve each, oh wow, or pairs of cables with it. That's actually a cool idea. Kind of, you know, kind of get the same result with cable mod, except you get the sleeves. When I say same result, like customization. I don't have time to really do that unless somebody really wants me to do it. But it's a cool idea, maybe something I would do on a personal rig. Wish I would have thought of that back in the day instead of the electrical tape paracord. The electrical tape, the downside is everything gets sticky. Getting sticky. Very sticky. There we go, we got our 24 pin in. Let's go ahead and drop this graphics card in. There we go. Yes, Steve, this is Brianna's computer that we're building. That's what I'm excited for. Gaming on low on my old desktop for a couple of years. Doesn't the 5090 have a single power plug? How would you wire that? You mentioned two. So that I was mentioning was PCIe 8 pin. Okay, so going back to Venomous Toad, this connection, this black one, that's a single 16-pin connection, which is the new quote-unquote PCIe 5.0 or 5.1 now connection type, versus your traditional 8-pin connection, which has got 8 pins. This cable is up to 600 watts. This particular cable is labeled 450 for the power supply that it came with, but this cable is technically rated for like, I think 75 watts or like around 100 watts. So 600 watts, 100 watts. That's the difference. This is a high 12 volt high power cable. The other one is not nearly as high. So that's the reason why 5090 has a single connection versus some of your other cards that have two that use the traditional PCIe connection still. AMD still uses the traditional PCIe 8-pin connection. Mike says he has a PC with the same specs. It's going to be awesome. Yes, I agree. It's going to look awesome and perform awesome. Hopefully we don't run into any more weird RGB issues like we did on the other build. I only laugh because that's all I can do now. It's just laugh at it. Laugh at the problems I run into. Alright. All that being done, all we've got left is to drop a power supply in, do some cable management, Give it the old test. All right, stand her up. Get our 750 watt 80 plus gold power supply by Thermaltake. Tough power. Do you have power? No. I have tough power. Power built tough. You got the same power supply? Well, then you have some tough power there, sir. When you think your machine isn't tough enough, you know you have a tough power supply. It's got you covered. Welcome to the Build Show, Wilson. Or welcome back. Wilson! Does anybody know what movie that's from? How to show your age in 5 seconds. New sub as well. Well, thank you. I don't know why some of the notifications for the subs on YouTube don't always show up over here on Streamlabs. So I apologize if I miss some of those during the stream. They don't show up. I don't see it. I have a Cisco kid, Henry, that subbed. Thank you for that sub, by the way, Cisco. Cisco kid. I assume he likes Cisco. As in the switch/firewall company. Alright, I know it's a modular power supply, but we're going to fill her up. Put her in because, put all the cables in because we don't want any cables going missing one day when Brianna brings it back and says, hey Ben, I'd like to do an upgrade. No, I don't know where the system cables are. Not saying that Brianna would do that, but I've had many of customers do that. So the solution, like I've explained many times, why I do this to a modular power supply, which is plug them all in, is so that the cables stay with the system and they don't go missing. It sucks when I tell them, oh yeah, we have to buy a new power supply. Cables. Because that's generally the fastest way to get the cables again. Besides, the next person that's probably going to be in the system will most likely be me, I assume, if Brianna ever needs anything. Or she'll be doing it herself after she watches enough of the videos, and she'll know why I did that. The movie made me cry. Castaway. Yeah, yep. It is. It was. Castaway. Yeah, I cried when Wilson went away, too. There we are. Power supply is in. So now we just have to deal with this rat's nest. We got 4 cables to plug in back here for power. We got a SATA power here. We got a 24-pin cable here. And then we have a 8-pin EPS cable for the power to the CPU, which is this guy right here. Make sure it's the right one. And then we have 2 PCIe cables for GPU power. Sure. Both down here at the bottom. Hidden away. One of them is only using 6 pins, but we're going to plug them all in. All 8. There we go. Now I'm just going to do a little bit of cable tucking. Usually what I have to do when I put my suit pants on after a year of not wearing them. I know it's not just me. Hey, what's up, Bazooka Bulldozers? Welcome back to the Build Show, sir. Welcome back. Oh yeah, I'm going to you for everything. Okay, yeah, if your brother has any questions, feel free to send them this way and I'll help them. Definitely would be happy to help. Did you screw in with confidence? Yes. You screw with confidence. That sounds so bad now that I think about it, what I just said. Take that back. Weird tight connection there. Okay. All right. Now, for the resistance. For the grand finale. The cable management. Flash. Just kind of put all this crap in there. Dang it. How does that happen? When you zip a little too hard, you break the zip tie. Almost there, guys. Almost there. What do you guys think of that? Clean enough? Is that cable management clean? Gotta love those Montech cases. Oh yeah, Tat, welcome back to the Build Show, sir. Also, I didn't see your Swiss Army knife and thermal applicator. I did not use my tweezers, my thermal applicator, or what else? What other one did he use? Yeah, I didn't use any of those tools. I have a legitimate LTT store screwdriver that we're currently trying to build until it breaks so we can test out their warranty services. And I think we're close to 50 builds on it, and it's still working beautifully. And then we have a cable tie cutter, or aka wire cutters. We do build with Mr. Stubby, which is a very short Phillip head screwdriver. That's to get into some tight, weird places. And then we also have a T20, which is used to remove the contact frames on the CPUs and install Thermalright contact frames, etc. Those are really the majority of my screwdrivers or tools that I use. I might use this Phillips screwdriver dominantly for M.2 screws, just because of the Phillip head that fits perfectly for those M.2 screws, and it's magnetic, so I can pick them up without losing the screws. And then I have a little flathead screwdriver that I use. Honestly, use the flathead screwdriver to cut tape. So, you know. Have you ever seen the Verge PC build? Yes, Wilson, I know what you're referencing. I try to avoid that topic just because, you know, it's like, I kind of feel bad for the dude. If you read more on it, he was given like he had not a ton of knowledge on, like, he's built a PC before, but he doesn't have knowledge like, say, you or me or some other people out here that would be able to do a much better build guide for The Verge, you know, that know what they're talking about. So he was kind of just thrown, here's the video, do it, make it happen, and here's a bunch of money to make it happen, and he had a very limited amount of time with the studio too, so he didn't have a ton of time to kind of do a nice job. So he was kind of set up for failure by The Verge. So it's definitely 100% The Verge's fault for making that happen. They just chose probably the wrong people and didn't provide the right resources to make it happen. Yeah, I feel like they set him up too in a way. I don't know any of the drama behind it, but yeah, that one was hard to miss. All right, Brianna. Hold on a second. Did I? It says Ben was here. What do you guys think? Very important part of the build. I don't do that on very many, just little Easter eggs here and there every now and then. Sometimes people ask me to sign their PCs too, but I can't guarantee my name's ever going to be worth any money. My signature. All right, here we go. Get her all plugged in, and then we'll switch to a side view. Excuse me. All right, Brianna. It is time. You tell me when you want me to push that power button and we'll fire this thing up. The reveal. I'm here for the Easter eggs. Nice. Zip ties equals FPS. I thought that was RGB. Is it both zip ties and RGB? Brianna says I'm ready. You gotta tell me to push the button. Push that button. Kind of like, you know, the house makeover show. Move that bus. Okay, here we go. We're going. Huh? What? I'm gonna take control of the RGB because it's gonna be the Gigabyte orange. So I'm just gonna run it from the physical controller to give it some rainbow juices. Push that button. There you go. You did it. We did it. and we got a post. So not only did it fire up and the RGB work, sorry, Carly, but it posted too. It looks so good. Yeah, the white does look pretty good. Not gonna lie. I'm so happy with it, thank you. Yeah, no problem. Yeah, all we have left now is the BIOS update, the Windows install, the drivers install, XMP, and a couple other things we set, and then we got to start battle testing it, which means we run the crap out of it, make sure we don't have any lemon parts, and everything runs smooth and where it performs where it should be and cools where it should be cooling, etc. I'm catching strays. Oh no. Super dope, Ben. Like the white builds, thank you. What GPU is in that bad boy? I missed that layout. All right, so it's the RTX 3070 with a Ryzen 7 3700 X3D with 32 gigs of DDR4 3200 CL16 G.Skill Ripjaws, and it is a Inland 2 terabyte. Inland is a Micro Center brand. 2 terabyte M.2 Gen 4 SSD. The cooler is a Thermalright Peerless Assassin white addressable RGB. The motherboard is a B550 gigabyte Aurorus Elite AX V2. The graphics card is the Gigabyte Vision, the RTX 3070. We've got a Thermaltake 750 watt 80 plus gold power supply, as well as the white sleeved cables, which are, I think, $22 or $23 on Amazon if you ever want to look them up. I could send you a link if you're on the Discord. The case is a Modtech Air 903 Max, and we're going to be running Windows 11 Pro. What was the issue with the ARGB Carly's build? Build number 10, Carly's build. The RGB controller on the board is bad, so I'm going to just replace the whole board. It's actually right behind me, and that is going to be next on the list. As soon as we finish this one up, I'm going to finish, get Carly's swapped out and have it ready to go tomorrow. So it ended up being the stupid RGB controller on that board. I just, I talked about it earlier in this video if you want to catch a little bit more info on it, but it's my luck, you know? I always run into the stupidest problems. Jeez. All you can do is laugh at the problems, because that's all I can do. And then fix them, of course. Make sure it's 100%. But I don't in any way want to release a build that's not 100%. So hope everybody appreciates the extra time that I take on the builds to make sure they are 100% when they leave. It's very rare for me to run into a problem. Right now I've actually got a problem with the Texas build. When I say Texas build, I have lots of builds out in Texas. But there's a gentleman that bought a Titan last year around August, September time. We built the Titans, shipped it to him, went to Texas, and then all of a sudden he started having weird issues with it just recently. Ended up being RAM, and I had a local guy out in Texas go take a look at it for me because we couldn't get the build to stay booted up long enough without blue screening. And I was like, look, it's something, it's either with the CPU or with the RAM, could be the motherboard, but I'm like, we need somebody to look at it at this point, so I hired somebody to go in and look at it. Ended up just being RAM, so we're just waiting on RAM to show up. But when issues like that happen, you know, we take care of it. And we do it as quickly as possible, so rather than him shipping the entire build back to me just to find out it's RAM, I just had somebody locally over there take care of it, so saves a bunch of time and money and hassle. Cool. Yeah. But, Brianna, this is your build. I hope you enjoy it when you do pick it up. Just be on the lookout for the email when we do have it ready to go. I'll send out an email when it's all set and ready to go. You'll see it with the address information, even though I think you've already been here. I think you paid in person. Just read the winter advisory about the ice and where to park if you don't have four-wheel drive. Beautiful. Yep. So tomorrow night we have George's build. George's build is actually an Intel build. We haven't had an Intel build in a while, but we're going to do an Intel build for George tomorrow. It's his son's powerhouse for video editing. So we're going to be working on that build tomorrow, and then we're going to be doing the B580, finally, the awaited B580 build from Intel on Wednesday. So that is our current kind of quote-unquote schedule. I will most definitely enjoy it. Awesome, I hope so. And I will be careful, y'all. Okay, good. Jesse, yeah, beautiful build, Ben. Nice work. Thank you. Sometimes I do try. What Intel CPU? So tomorrow we're going to be doing a Intel i9 12900K in tomorrow's system for George's build. And for the B580 system, we have a 12600K F with the Intel B580 graphics card on Wednesday. That's a inventory build slash let's play around with this new B580 thing that everybody's talking about. So we'll see how the B580 actually performs on a budget system. When I say budget, a 12600K F, you know, is kind of the CPU I would see most people pairing it with, or a 5600X or a 7600X, etc. Subbed. Thank you, Mike. I appreciate the sub over there on the YouTube. Both great CPUs? Yes. Yeah, they're both great CPUs for gaming. But I mean, the B580 is supposed to be the budget 1440p card of 2025, and so we're gonna put it to its test. We're gonna build a system that's kind of like a $800 range system. That's quote unquote 1440p budget, and we'll see how it does. I don't know if we're gonna run Windows on that or not. Maybe we break it up in 2 streams. I'll build it, maybe come back on the next day and we can run through some tests, test it all out after I get Windows loaded up on it or something. Because I don't have Windows preloaded on that SSD. But wow. Right on, guys. Hope you all enjoyed the build show tonight. I will be live again tomorrow, like I said, building George's PC, probably around the same time, probably somewhere in between 7:30 and 9 p.m. Eastern time is when I'll probably go live, so just be on the lookout. And we'll be building George's PC tomorrow. So thanks again, everybody, for joining. I'm going to drop off tonight. We'll see you tomorrow on the next one, the next build show. Have a good night, guys. You're welcome, Brianna. I'll be in touch with you when I have this one wrapped up. And Carly, I'll also be in touch with you when I have yours wrapped up. Yeah, the 3070 was a good card, Tat. Sorry I missed your chat over there on the Twitch. Thanks, guys. Have a good night.